such a good crowd, and the Philly crowd did not disappoint. They were fantastic. At one point, Layla Gray pulls Kip Sabian off the ring, and then Mother Wayne pushes AR Fox's butt off the ropes, which leads to Nick Wayne being able to get the pin, so him and crew win. This was a really, really fun match, and since the 0 hour is so short, I would definitely recommend watching it. Just skip through all the talking. I don't even think that AEW thought that this match was going to get these reactions. Like, other matches on the main event card didn't get a standing ovation, but AR Fox did, which was so fantastic to see. I love that he is getting the love from the fans. This will be a theme throughout the review, that kind of the matches that I liked were the matches that were fun, which I feel like tends to get looked down on in wrestling. The word like fun, like it's not taken like seriously, but I feel like wrestling needs those interesting and fun matches in order to sell people on buying the pay-per-view. And they tend to be the saving grace of this pay-per-view, because I felt like any of the emotional matches didn't really end up paying off in the way that I had hoped. So then we get a very long break, like very long, and poor Renee and Jeff and RJ are trying to like keep it going, and I can't imagine having to do this. And I had just eaten a Popeye, so I am already sleepy. And this was like, okay, we have brought this great energy from like this past match, and we are just bringing it down, which was kind of sad, because there was just such a long time of talking in between this and the next match. The next match is the Max Caster Open Challenge, so we don't know who is going to be coming out. I like to imagine that the reason that it took so long between matches is because Max Caster was like pooping in the back or something. Which I think is funny. I do love this chant, like the "Let's go Max, you're the best wrestler alive" has really paid off for me. I think it's so funny, it's so fun. We're waiting to see who comes out. Lights go dark, unfamiliar music begins to play, then the Tron comes up, and it's Anthony Bowens, and let me tell you, I think that this was my biggest pop of the night. Like, it was so exciting. He comes out with Billy Gunn. He is in a little crop top that shows under boob, and he is in a red and white color scheme. He looks like a transformer. Like, I love this outfit. It is fantastic. He is coming back with the moniker of the Pride of Professional Wrestling, which I think is perfect, because I love seeing him at LGBT events, and I think that he is such a good ambassador for queer people in wrestling, and it seems like the mainstream has really accepted him into that as well, because he goes to all these events and does all this stuff, and I think that that's wonderful. I love the, like, what is it, a double entendre of the Pride of Professional Wrestling. And then he squashes Max, and he looks so strong. He seems like he's fighting more aggressively and strong than he has before, which I always love. I love when you can see like a little bit of a style shift in a wrestler when they come back after being gone. So I love that. I was like so hyped for this. I thought it was fantastic. He is still doing the scissor motion, and this might be controversial. I don't think he needs it. Like, I think he should drop it. You don't need to throw up a 2. Like, I genuinely think that you were over without that, and there are so many people that like love to see you, and I haven't been missing it really, so That'd be my one thing. I think I would drop it. Like, just go forward as you. Next we have Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight. This was a last minute change after Jay White got injured. Kevin came in to take a spot in the Owen Hart tournament, so this is the first round of the Owen Hart tournament. Will is in probably the most gorgeous version of his coat that he has shown in AEW. It is a black brocade with these straps that were hanging loose but still connected, so they kind of made this like bubble effect. It was really beautiful. I loved it. There's two slits in the back, which I think gave so much movement to it. Very much gave that Assassin's Creed feel that I know that he's always kind of looking for. Kevin comes out in a really nice, like custom monogrammed purple puffer jacket, which I really liked. It was definitely a good match. Kevin showed out. He really made himself look good. Ospreay made himself look good. You know, Kevin also made Ospreay look good. I feel like he took his moves really well. This was definitely a hurdle with having Jay White be out, and I do just want to say I don't know if it felt like a pay-per-view match to me, because pay-per-view matches to me do have to have some kind of story payoff, usually, to my way of thinking. I don't know if I would have put it on first. I think it was a really good first match, but I maybe would have done Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia first to kind of get the crowd energy back up, because even after the Anthony Bowens thing, there was another like 10-minute long break of just talking, and I feel like the title change maybe would have been more impactful if it came first. So yeah, kind of my thoughts. Let me switch to my next page of notes. Alright. Next, we have Big Bill and Brian Keith versus the Hart Syndicate. Bobby Lashley looks amazing when he comes out. He's in black and gold, as we would expect. He's in tights and a vest. I like the vest, and the tights are like fully bedazzled. And that is a man that understands the pageantry of professional wrestling. If you are a wrestler and you're like, does my outfit need to have some sparkle? Yes, it does. You should sparkle it. So I love that. Thought it was perfect. It's nice to see Big Bill and Brian Keith break away from Chris. Fantastic. And to immediately get put into like one of these big feel matches. I feel like the Hurt Syndicate really carry a big feel match with them. The storyline just felt a little bit rushed to me. Like, they both kind of had like squash matches, and they were like, we want a match, and it's like, yeah, but like, I don't know if it counts as like winning a match if you're just gonna squash them. I'd like to see, like, I think that they meant like win a competitive match with the guy that I've seen before on TV, but that's okay. But I didn't mind it because there was such like a quick turnaround with pay-per-views. So I am fully and truly on the Hurt Syndicate bandwagon. They're just very good. I think it is so fun. Shelton Benjamin does a roundhouse kick, loses his balance, it looks like, and you go, oh no. But as he is getting back up, Brian Keith tags in Big Bill. So it looks like they had like constructed this from the beginning, and maybe they did, but I just thought that like if they didn't, that was such a testament to what kind of performers Shelton Benjamin and Brian Keith are, to like very quickly make it look like Brian Keith is taking advantage of an opportunity of Shelton Benjamin losing his balance. Like, I feel like when the Chris Jericho clip of like there's no such thing as a botch, like that's how you have a botch that looks intentional for storytelling. So I love that. MVP's involvement is perfect. He has them get into a little huddle at one point to like hype them up because they were off to kind of a slow start. He's yelling at the ref so that MJF could pop up out of the crowd and punch Big Bill. And then he's on commentary, and I love him on that too. I feel like he really has the right mix of not doing too much and supporting the performers and getting himself over, which I love. The Hart Syndicate end up retaining, not too much of a surprise with that. I'm very excited for this MJF storyline. I feel like he is at his best when he is trying to prove himself to like an older male figure that he looked up to as a child. Which I feel like is like a crazy thing to say, but I think that he does that insecure, trying to prove himself character really well, and it still works well with being a heel because it feels like you understand it, but also it's like a little bit of like that toxic masculinity thing of like I need to prove myself to other men, so it works really well for me. Next, we have Julia Hart versus Mercedes Monet for the Owen Hart tournament. Julia looks great as usual. She is loving this big shoulder spiky silhouette, and I am too. She has a really long cape, like long, and she's wearing pants, which I love. I love when a girl wears pants. She looked really comfortable in them, which I also really liked. It felt natural. Mercedes comes out in a very large fur coat that's all red, and then she's dressed like fire underneath. It's very Blades of Glory, but I can't hate on it because it's also really good. Julia does that thing that she's been doing lately where she slams her opponent's head into the mat over and over, and I love that. I think that she makes it look so good. Julia Hart has also made me really enjoy holds. Like, I've never seen people put somebody in a hold and sell me on it the way that she does. Like, it still looks like it is like really excruciating and tiring for her to do, and it makes me like that because if you've watched my videos before, you know that I'm very much a jumpy, flyy kind of person, and so she does really well and make me interested in her matches. There are several close calls. The Philly crowd is definitely on Julia's side, and I am too. And but Mercedes ends up winning, as was probably a little bit expected. This is definitely a match that picks up towards the end. It seemed a little unsteady at the start. There was kind of a slip by Mercedes, and they seemed to be kind of missing each other a little bit, not quite gelling. But I think it had a good climax and a really good ending, despite it being an unpopular finish with the crowd. But the crowd was so good throughout the whole match, so I like kudos to both Julia and Mercedes. Next, we have the Death Riders versus Rated FTR for the Trios Championships. Honestly, and this is bad, I forgot about the Trios Championships. That's not good. And I love the Trios Championship. Like, I was all for Death Triangle winning. Like, that's not good. I'm going to talk about what they're wearing, and then I'm going to get into the current state of the Death Riders. So, Rated FTR come out all in a matching red. I think that it looks good. I like their joint gear. I feel like it works together. Then the Death Riders come in with the raising of a garage door, which could have looked stupid, but actually I thought looked I love him in a group. Like, I loved him in Death Triangle. I thought that he pulls his weight really well. But in the Death Riders, it just isn't the right fit. So Mox is the leader. Wheeler is who they're trying to elevate. He's like the young gun. Claudio, I would define as the muscle in, like, matches, because they won't let Marina fight dudes. So Marina's the muscle, but in matches, Claudio's the muscle. So I guess that would make Pac like the wild card, which I think is how they introduced him. Like, you weren't supposed to be like, oh, and Pac's here. You're supposed to be like, oh, a wild card, Pac. But Pac isn't a wild card. He's very calculated. He wrestles smart. He is very loyal to groups when he's been in them. So he would have to be the muscle. But that's already taken. So it doesn't feel like he quite fits into the group. And I feel like losing the thread of Yuta being, like, coerced into joining this group. They kept it for a while. Because what should happen, to my way of thinking, is that they build Yuta up. He takes the beating. He's been loyal since Blackpool Combat Club. But he was even kind of coerced into that, you know? And they should be building him up to turn on at least Claudio, if not Moxley. And, like, it should be one of those things where it's like, oh, I finally had enough. And they did this with Wardlow, too. They never keep that thread going. And it's like, okay, you have to keep that thread going, because that's the interesting part. The interesting part of a group is the interdynamics at play. Not really how they are at fighting other people. That's interesting too. But the most interesting part of a group is that intergroup tension. And it feels like it's been a few storylines now where that tension just keeps getting dropped. And that's the most interesting part. I feel like if they had kept this Wheeler thing going, then it would have made sense for him to then join back up with Orange Cassidy, who, honestly, I think should have won the world title when he had the chance. But for some reason, Orange Cassidy is nowhere to be seen, and now Jay White isn't anywhere to be seen. And those are who I would have had win the world title. So, anyway, I'll talk about that more when I talk about the Moxley match. But that would have been what I would have done, is to have Yuta finally, like, break out, be this big baby face because he broke out of his conditioning or whatever, and then have him, like, help Orange win or help Jay win, or at the very least turn on Claudio and start feuding with Claudio. I don't know. So that's kind of my big thing right now, is that, like, I don't see where the story is going, and people keep saying that it's because Darby Allin is going to win the championship, and I like Darby well and good. I just, that would not be my choice, I don't think. So it's just disappointing to see them, like, lose what I think are the most interesting plot threads, and with people that I like. I like Yuta, I like Pac, I really like Pac. It would make sense for him to turn on them too, but I don't know how that fits. Like, I would love to see him and Jay White team up. How fun would that be? So anyway, back to the match. This is a good match. FTR always brings me back onto their side with matches. I'll be watching, I'll be like, this is boring, and then by the end I'm like hooting and hollering. Like, they know how to build a match. There's lots of great teamwork in this match between both teams. We get giant swing, we get power and glory, we get a fastball slam, we get a moment where Cash throws Yuta onto Dax to break up Pac's hold on him. I love it. Lots of person after person after is the right decision, but I need to see more from these trio titles. I don't know what's happening with them, and I don't know who's coming up next, you know. But I was very excited that Yuta got the pin, because usually Yuta takes the pin, and it feels like that's what he was demoted to, the guy who takes the pin. Cope and Cash then help Dax up before Dax pile drives Cope. Yes. I guess, expecting FTR sold the ending of this, and this turned really well. Cash, Dax throws a chair in, tells Cash to beat Cope in the head with it. Cash says no, and then they transition into the Shatter Machine, which I loved. It looked brutal. It was so good. And then he smashes his head in with a chair. So, big win. And then after, they bring out like the neck brace and the stretcher, and Cash takes it, puts the neck brace on, lays on the stretcher, and then Dax tries to like resuscitate him. I just love it. I thought that this was so fun, and I didn't care about this storyline at all, but they really got me on board with it. So kudos to FTR. Next, next we have Megan Bayne versus Timeless Toni Storm for the Women's World Championship. Toni gets this like great Rocky intro, which I really loved. It goes out in the wrestling gear, and Luther is dressed as the corner man, and Megan knows how to serve a look. Her headpiece is like, it's tall, like above my screen. Which I love. She looks so strong. She looks fantastic. Bayne at one point takes out Luther, and then Toni jumps off of Luther to like get it back. Penelope, who came out with Megan Bayne, is really good in this. I love getting to see Penelope every week. At one point, Luther ends up carrying Penelope out of the like arena, I guess, backstage, and she is kicking and screaming, and she's doing just so well. I love seeing her get to like perform and shine. There are 3 hip attacks, and then a Storm Zero, and Megan Bayne kicks out of that, which was crazy to see. I love that. I really like the ending. I felt like I really was like, oh my gosh, Toni Storm is gonna lose, which I did not go into it thinking really. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what if she loses? And she doesn't. She ends up retaining. I think that this match was really fun, and that's why it worked for me. I think that it was like light but also serious. I really liked it. I don't know who Toni's next opponent is going to be. I would like to see somebody else as world champion, I think, but I think that they're scared to take that title off of Toni because she is so popular and always delivers. So I'm interested to see where that one kind of goes. Next, we have Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Brisco for the O&R tournament. Kyle is in a bubble gum pink head to toe Jericho's in it, and I'm getting tired of him. Two, I don't like storylines that bring in wrestlers' families who are not wrestlers or like involved in wrestling. I it feels too real. I just don't like it. Like I like and like logically I know that they know that this is happening and they've discussed it, but it's just something that I'm not into, and that's not on his sister and mom at all. They played so well. That's actually probably why I don't like it, because they're really good at doing it. So, before I talk about like how I feel about the match, I do want to give a big shout out to Bandito for his minute-long delayed vertical suplex. It looked amazing. I guess also a shout out to Jericho because he has to hold himself up a little. But it was so fun. Loved it. Great moment. Definitely like a highlight. This storyline I think was meant to have a big match feel, but it still didn't have that gravitas to me. It was missing a third gear in the actual match to shift into. Now, I think that they thought that the third gear would be the finish. So, for the finish, Brian Keith runs in, gravity appears, takes out Brian Keith, and while they're getting thrown out by the ref, Chris goes over to the side, grabs a bat that he had stashed there, hits Bandito with it, throws the bat back out. Ref turns around, he pins to win, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they won again. But then they try to subvert our expectations by having Bandito's sister and mom point out the bat to Aubrey Edwards, have her find it, have them restart the match, and then have Bandito pin to win and become the new Ring of Honor World Champion. It was just too much for my taste. It just wasn't for me, because I was never worried that Bandito was going to lose, because it was a mask versus title match, and I didn't think that Bandito was going to get unmasked. I just was like, they're not going to do that. You can't do that to have a fulfilling story. So that was part of it. And then during the match, Bandito looked way stronger. He had his cardio down, and Jericho looked tired, which is fine. But if we're trying to sell this thing of one bad hit taking out Bandito, I just kind of don't think so. I think he would get back up, because he just didn't look as tired as Jericho did. And then, for a final thing, Chris Jericho matches are just not usually straightforward. So I'm always expecting some kind of run-in twist kind of thing. So what I would have done was I would have made the match shorter so that so that you didn't see as many holes in Jericho's kind of offense. I would have made it shorter so that it didn't have to be as long, and he didn't have to keep up with Bandito. I would have had Gravity come out with Bandito, already be at ringside, so that he could intercept Brian Keith when he came in. You could have them get thrown out by the ref for fighting, have Jericho grab for the bat, the family then yells for the ref's attention, the ref turns around, sees Jericho holding the bat, stops it, and then Bandito swoops in for a quick pin. Well, Jericho was aghast that his plan was foiled, and I still think it would have been messy, but it would have been more succinct, which I think was what this match needed. I think it needed just a little bit less time, because it felt long to me. So, those are my thoughts on that. Next, we have Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. usually describe as what Chris Pine's character in Dungeons and Dragons would wear if he was a wrestler. Danny is in white and pastel blue with like red boots, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I think it's great when a babyface wears white. I think it's great when a heel wears white. I think white is a good color. The majority of this match, Garcia is attacking Cole's leg, and they both sell it really well. Honestly, I was a bit surprised that Adam ended up winning and becoming the new TNT champion. I've been watching Collision, but I've been watching Collision like every other week. I'm just not quite catching up on it how I usually do. So I missed quite a bit of this feud, but I still don't feel like there was like enough meat on the bone for me to like really get invested in these two fighting. So I am interested to see what Adam does, because I think that he could really carry this championship, but I also feel like Danny didn't get to do a lot with it. Like, it kind of feels like he feuded with Adam Cole and that's it. And maybe I'm just remembering wrong, but I can't remember what else he did, which is really disappointing because I was so excited for him to win this championship. Next, we have Kenny Omega versus Speedball Bailey versus Ricochet for the International Championship. Love this match. I know that this is not everybody's style, but that is so boring to me. How can you not get excited? They're flipping around. Speedball is dressed like Buzz Lightyear. It's a very Buzz Lightyear color scheme. Ricochet is in teal and white. Love! The white looks good. And Kenny has his Omega boop window, which I love. I will never get tired of that. The tones of their gear went really well together, which I thought was great. Like, they just distinguished themselves as different people, but also when they were together, you were like, oh, that's such a nice color scheme. So here it is again. This match was fun, and it was interesting, and I think it had a good push and pull, and I loved it. Ricochet at one point puts on Tony Schiavone's headset. Speedball takes it off his head like it goes flying, and then he puts on the headset himself and apologizes to Tony and the audience, which you can't hear, but you got the gist of, and that endeared him so much to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know a lot about him before, but now I really like him. I thought it was so fun. They have great three-person chemistry. They're doing lots of combo moves and kicks and moves where one person is hitting one person who's hitting one person. I thought it was greatly paced. This was probably my match of the night. I loved it. Throughout the match, it felt like anybody could win, but as expected, Kenny ends up retaining. Kenny is tired at the end of this match, understandably. And then Okada comes out. By the way, Okada is in a fantastically fitted suit. He looks great. And they do like a face-to-face, and then Kenny gets down, and it kind of feels like maybe they were supposed to stand there for a little bit longer, but Kenny was like really tired and had to just go to the back. So I did think that was a lot of fun. So last, we have Strickland versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. Going into this match, I didn't really want Swerve to win. Not that I didn't want him to win, just I didn't feel like it was built in a way that I had a lot emotionally invested, because again, it was a really quick turnaround between these two pay-per-views. And also, I feel like we dropped storylines. Like, I feel like it makes way more sense for Jay White or for Orange Cassidy to win this title, because they they were going to have Swerve win because the Death Riders is not getting a good reception. That is not what they did. So this match is like kind of bloody, which like whatever, and there's a bunch of biting. Not my thing. I don't know, it just feels like I get this every time, and I never see I'm never watching these pay-per-view matches for the world title and being like, wow, they wrestled amazing. Like I feel like I know what I'm going to get, and I'm never like surprised in a good way of like, oh my gosh, they aren't not that they aren't doing the other stuff, because you can do that and still wrestle really well. It just feels like it's always about the other stuff, which doesn't make sense for the AEW world title. Oh my gosh, I didn't even get to mention it. Swerve comes out in like fantastic cosplay. Loved it. He looks great. I love that he included the goggles, because I feel like a lot of people would have forgotten that from the character. And he did it, and it made it look cool. See, I'm so into this that like I can't even talk about the part that I liked because it feels like I keep ending pay-per-views. Even last Revolution, which I loved, I just couldn't get a video out about it in time. I loved Revolution. I thought that Revolution was so good, but it felt like it ended on such like a wah. And I don't know. I'm just not enjoying the pay-per-view matches as much as I want to, especially as the last match. And you can't not put it as the last match, because if you think that it's not good enough to be at the last match, then you have to put the title on somebody else. Like, that's the thing, is that I'm not like getting the air taken out of me from like them losing. I'm getting the air taken out of me because it just feels wild. So this match ends because the lights go out, the Young Bucks reappear, and I was really excited to see the Young Bucks. I was hoping that they would come back, genuinely. I like the Young Bucks. I know a lot of people are not having great, but I think that they really elevate storylines when they're in them. I liked it. I even liked them as the EVP storyline, which I know a lot of people didn't either. And I want Jack Perry to come back, but I don't think that they're going to have Jack Perry come back till Darby comes back, which is boring. So, the Young Bucks come back, they hit the BTE trigger on Swerve, and then run out, and then Jon Moxley wins, I guess, which I don't understand how Chris Jericho gets a match restarted for using a bat, and the match doesn't get restarted after there's as much interference as there was. I just don't get it. Wrestling needs rules, and I need them to explain to me what the rules are and how they can circumvent them. Because it's not fun if they're just no rules. It's more interesting if they like figure out how to get around the rules or whatever. I don't know. So whatever. It doesn't make sense to me. So I was excited to see the Young Bucks come back, but then it was like, why are they with these guys? Like, why didn't they? I don't know what they would come back as. I think that they should still come back as heels, because you can't just have them come back as baby faces. But like, why didn't they take out Hangman, who they have like a long history with? They don't really have like a long history with Swerve. It doesn't feel like those two people interacted that much. I'm talking about the Young Bucks as one person. So I don't know. I'm excited for Wednesday, so that maybe they can tell me and tell everybody else how that makes sense. Honestly, I think it would have made more sense if they came back with Chris Christian Cage and the patriarchy, but the patriarchy is kind of fizzling out. So I don't know what to do. It feels like they came back like 2 months too late, and they should have come back and like helped with Christian Cage doing his title contract, and then they should have helped, and then Christian Cage should have had the title. Just thought of that one on the spot. It feels like they should have come back, helped Christian Cage win the title, and then like had him in their pocket or something. I don't know. That would have made sense. Wouldn't that have made sense? I just thought of that right now. So anyway, tell me what you think. I'm still gonna watch AEW. Everybody's like, this is the downfall of AEW. Companies have ebbs and flows. I don't think it's a downfall. This is gonna get clipped if it is, but I'm still gonna watch every Wednesday and most Saturdays. And I am still like introducing people to AEW and telling them that they should watch it. They're coming. I'm probably gonna go to a show because they're coming near me. So I'm still gonna go. And I'm probably gonna bring friends. I'm still gonna talk about it because I really do like this company, but like that's where this criticism is coming from somebody who like really likes this company, has only watched this company, and has this company is the first company that has got them into wrestling. So